Procedure of Swahas, we will join together. It is very powerful gems taken from Sri Ramacharita to be chanted. Devotees, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Just as a reminder, in Sri Ramcharitamanas, we read Manu Shatrupa, Manu, Raja Manu, Rani Shatrupa, having renounced the kingdom, went into the forest, and the objective was to seek that Lord, Divinity, the Supreme. So there is a journey. We have heard this time and again. Pratham Bhakti Santankar Sangha. The first stage in devotion is to associate with the right company, the company of genuine holy ones. Dusera Mama Katha Prasanga. The second stage, you develop this insatiable appetite to listen to the glories of God. A wonderful quality. Guru Parapankaj Seva Tisri Bhakti Aman. The third stage in this journey, Guru Kripa, the worship of the Guru, getting the grace of the Guru. Chauthi Bhakti Mama Gun Ganam Kare Kapata Pajagan. The fourth stage, chanting the name, the praises, the glories of the Lord with a guileless upas. And the 12 ones, Mantra Japa Madhur Viswasa, Pancham Bhajan Desu Prakasham. The fifth stage, the repetition of mantra. Mantra jap mama dridh viswasa. Firm belief. If the attitude is not right, he is going through motions. So the Manusha Krupa, they really use this mantra, 12 syllables. Firm belief, conviction. And what was their desire? They wanted to see that Lord with their physical eyes. That Lord who is unseen, unconditioned, without attributes. They wanted to see Sakumbran, God with attributes. And they did, because of the power of this mantra. So I'm saying this because I don't want you to just get the habit of singing Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and not understanding, not feeling what it is all about. Manu Shatrupa chanting for years, the power of this mantra, God success for them. So remember what you're doing. Bharat Akshar Mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It is the very same mantra that a grandson of Raja Muni, Bhakta Dhruv, chanted in 6 months' time. He made the very same Lord appear. Sanchak Gadapati. This is the power of the mantra. Don't feel it lightly, no mechanically. Think, identify, feel. This is the important thing. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
बोले श्री उमापति महादेव की जय। Devotees, we concentrate on Ganesh Bhagwan, Devi Bhagwan Shankar as we normally do, and then we will get into this morning's message. जय सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करिवर वरदान। जय सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करिवर वरदान। जय सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करिवर वरदान। करु अनुग्रह सो करु अनुग्रह सो बुधिराशि शुभ को सदना। बुधिराशि शुभ को सदना। गणनायक करिवर वरदान। जय सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करिवर वरदान। मुख होय वाचा मुख होय वाचा पंगु चढ़े गिरिवरदान। पंगु चढ़े गिरिवरदान। गणनायक करिवर वरदान। जय सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करिवर वरदान। जासु कृपा सुदया जासु कृपा सुदया द्रवौ सकल द्रवौ सकल बोले श्री गजानन स्वामी की दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी हो जय जय दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी हो जय जय दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी हो जय जय दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी हो जय जय दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी हो जय जय दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी संकट हरणी मंगल करनी संकट हरणी मंगल करनी प्रणव स्वरूपी माता हो जय प्रणव स्वरूपी माता हो जय दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी जय जय हो जय जय दुर्गा अम्बा भवानी 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 बोले श्री आदिशक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय। Devotees, this morning, most of you may have received the message. Taking inspiration from what the Padmacharya presented last week, I decided that this year, for the most part, we are going to look at, in some depth, the Sri Ramacharitamanus. Now, you will see our Muslim brothers and sisters walking with their Quran. You will see our Christian brothers and sisters walking with their Bible. And you will see our Hindu brothers and sisters walking with their hands swinging. Now, of course, you have your prasad, mala, whatever else. That is good. Nothing is wrong with that. But as various people have been mentioning to me, we do have a problem now, especially with our young Hindus. What is our scripture? Well, we don't have one, we have many. But even so, we still have to choose. And you know, there is a saying, learning is not a spectator sport. You cannot come here and only just listen to the pundits speak and you know, we hope that you go home and do some analysis. But it doesn't work like that. So what we need to do as a people is to go back to our scriptures. Saying so, we had a choice to make. Bhagavad Gita, Sri Ramacharitamanus, two most popular ones. We decided to go with the Sri Ramacharitamanus, the story of Sri Ram, because it is the most accessible and straightforward, especially for the children. As you get older and some life experience, Bhagavad Gita is very good. But many children and younger ones cannot relate too much to many parts in it. They require some life experience first of all. So, this is the decision. We advertised and we put out which version to get. Now the second problem we have is the language problem. Most Hindus in this part, in Trinidad and Tobago, and in various other places, do not speak Hindi, nor do you read Hindi. As in the case of Sri Ramcharitamanas, it's written in Awadhi, a dialect of Hindi, far less Sanskrit. So we have two options. One, make sure everybody learns Hindi before being able to read, which is impractical. The second option is to get a version of the Ramayana where we have transliteration, where you could sing, there is English translation so you can read, and then from here you will have further explanation and insight into it. So this is the rationale. The version I've selected is this one, and we've posted our messages. You will see it on our Facebook page and wherever else. So those of you that got a copy, very good. Some people are complaining it's a bit expensive. I think it's close to $400. But you know what? If you could drink thousands of dollars in the bar, you could spend up to $400 to buy the Ramayana. So this is essential. It's a big book. You can pick up all kind of thing and walk with it. Pick up the Ramayana and walk with it. Secondly, my preference is you do not use a digital Ramayana. I have my iPad as well. But I think to reduce distraction in society, get the physical copy of the book. What I would also say, many Hindus have the Ramayana in the puja room, wrapped up in a cloth. I doubt they ever read it. And to me, that's a waste of time. If you have it in your home, take it out and read it. Otherwise, purchase one like this and use it to study. This is the greatest gift, the gift of knowledge. Okay? So as Hindus, no one has an excuse anymore. What we are studying? Sri Ramcharitamanas, the story of Sri Ram. Now, how are we going to study it? Many people know this story, and that is not going to be our focus. The other complaint that I've heard, especially from younger ones, the pundits use various words, they don't understand what they're saying, they go to a katha, they lose interest because it's the same story over and over, and most importantly, there is no sort of relevance to now. Ramayana, say the story existed how many years ago? What is the relevance to me? What is the relevance to now? And this is what we are going to focus on. At least my focus. So the Ramayana has many layers to it. You can extract so many things as you've heard over the years. But we are going to do one thing at a time. The primary focus is on extracting lessons so that we can apply for now, right now, current circumstance. Okay. Now, we are not going to go in order. What I'll do is, based on the need at hand, I will select a chaupai or two maximum that we will look at. And this is how we're going to do it. The transliteration is there, so you are going to sing together with me, so you will learn how to pronounce the words. We will have the translation read by one of our younger ones here for each chaupai or doha. And then I would summarize and give a brief in-depth explanation as to the application of it. I always remember the words of my guru. An ounce of practice is better than a ton of theory. Okay? So, in educational speak, this is our learning objective. Okay? Now, let me see how many of you have your copy here. Good. How many of you don't have it? Okay. So you can try to get a copy, but we also are arranging to have some copies in the temple. We will loan it to you during service, and then you return it afterward. Of course, you can't use it to study during the week. So you should get your own copy if you could. It's available all in puja stores across the country. Okay? Alright, so let's now begin. Let's get to the task at hand. Today, we're going to look at one chaupai from Kishkindha Khan. So in the Ramayana you have the Sri Ramcharitamanas, and just let me make this clear. There are different versions. The original Ramayana was written by Valmiki ji in what language? Sanskrit. You have other versions of the Ramayana, but then you have this version, Ramcharitamanas, the lake or the ocean of the glories of Sri Ram, written by, who's the author? Who's the author? Tulsidas. Tulsidas. What language is it written in? Awadhi, which is a dialect of Hindi. Okay? So I don't want anybody telling me or anybody else that, yeah, you read the Ramayana in Sanskrit and all kind of weird things. Okay? Alright. It is written in this language in poetry form, so it's easy for everybody to understand. It is very accessible, which I believe, spirituality should be. People who try to shroud spirituality behind all sort of, Pakishu and Simidini, they're doing you a disservice. Spirituality is about life. It is about the ordinary. It is about who you are. And it mustn't be mystified. So we are demystifying it. Okay? Good. Alright. So we're going to look at this. The page number is 509. So turn to 509, 510. This is Kishkindha Khan, and this little scenario is where Prabhu Sri Ram lost Sita Mata to Ravan, yes, and he is now proceeding looking for her, and he had various adventures. But in this one, this part we're looking at here, the start of the chapter, he approaches a mountain where he encounters Hanumanji and Sugriv. So you all are aware? Yes? Good. So let us begin. We are going to start. Now I should mention there are different verses with different meters in the Ramcharitamanas. You have a chaupai, which you are familiar with. You have a doha. You have a chand, you have a surtha. Okay? Now, unfortunately, in this version here, it doesn't tell you, it's written in the Devanagari. Devanagari means the Hindi script, but it isn't written in the transliteration here. So, you look for where you find Mukti Janma Mahijani. So, once you find that there, it's on the right side of the page, Mukti Janma Mahijani. Okay? Alright. So, this is what we are going to do. I'm going to sing it very slowly. You are going to sing it together with me. And then this first one, Pandit Abhinav will read the translation. And then we'll move on. And we'll do the set of 3 or 4. Once that has been completed, I will then go back and pull some insights from it. Okay? You're free to take notes if you wish. That is perfectly fine. Or you could concentrate now, the recordings will be available. You could go back and look at it after and extract from that. Bole Sri Raja Ramachandra ki jai. We begin with this surtha. Mukti Janma Mahijani Gyan khani adhani kara Jahan bas shambhu bhavani So kashi se kasana. We'll have the translation.
Of salvation, the mine of spiritual wisdom, and abolition of sin.
We go on to the next, which is also a surtha. जरत सकल सुरवृंद विषम गरल जेहि पान किया तेहि न भजसी मन को कृपाल शंकर सरसर. We'll have translation by Vindheshwari.
O foolish soul, how is it that you do not worship him who drank all the deadly poison shed out of the ocean floor? When due to its burning potency, the hosts of heaven were in distress, who else is so merciful as Shiva?
Now we go on to the next two chaupais. You all will be familiar with the tune of the chaupai. We'll do it without rhythm just so that you can go at a slower pace. What I will do, I will sing the line and then sing it again. So you'll hear it first and then you could join together with me. Yes? चौथा. आगे चले बहुरी रघुराया, आगे चले बहुरी रघुराया, ऋष्यमुख पर्वत नियराया, ऋष्यमुख पर्वत नियराया, तहाँ रह सचिव सहित सुग्रीवा, तहाँ रह सचिव सहित सुग्रीवा, आवत देखी अतुल बल सीवा, आवत देखी अतुल बल सीवा. नेक्स्ट चौपाई. अति सभित कह सुनु हनुमाना, अति सभित कह सुनु हनुमाना, पुरुष जुगल बल रूप निधाना, निधाना, धरि बड़ु रूप देखू तै जाई, धरि बड़ु रूप देखू तै जाई, कहे सुजानी जिय शयन भुजाई, कहे सुजानी जिय शयन भुजाई. तब जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम, जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम, जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम. And now we have translation by Vaishnavi.
Raghunath again proceeded on his way and drew near to the hill of Rishimukh. There dwelt Sugriv, a monkey chief, with his counselors. When he saw the two brothers, the highest embodiments of immeasurable might, approaching, he was utterly alarmed and cried to one of his ministers, "Listen, Hanuman, these two men are abodes of valor and beauty. Assume the form of a celibate, reverent student, and go see them, and when you are sure what they want, acquaint me by a sign."
Bole Sri Raja Ramachandra ki jai. Okay, devotees. So, the poetry of Tulsidas is beautiful. Just by singing it alone, you feel so much. I can't express what you feel, but you feel different. Not so? And the important thing, as you will hear, it's important for you to sing it yourself, not only listen. Now, let's look at how we apply this to the current situation we're in. As I've been trying to say since the start of the year, we are all in mental distress, meaning that we've lost our sense of peace, our peace of mind, given the circumstances, not so? Okay. Here, Sri Ram is in a similar position where he lost what was dear to him, most dear to him. Not a physical thing, but he lost his wife, Sita Devi, to Ravan. So Ravan abducted Sita Mata. Now, my approach to translation is to go back to the original words themselves, which originated in Sanskrit, find those key meanings there, and then expand on that. What is the meaning of Sita? Sita means a track, a pathway, a furrow. Sita also means fertility. Okay? And as the Paramacharya mentioned, the Patni, the wife, is Shanti, peace, peace of mind. So, internally, our Sita, our pathway ahead, our peace of mind has been abducted, taken away. Taken away by who? Ravan. What is the meaning of Ravan? Ravana. Ravan means to roar. So here we're going to take Ravan to mean the world. Whatever you have roaring its head, coronavirus, violence, wars, you might have wars coming just now, who knows? Ravan. So Ravan abducting Sita, to you and I, it means right here, right now, our peace of mind and the way forward has been abducted. We can't see clearly. And many, many people currently are in mental distress. Yes? Okay. Now, before getting into the chaupai, Tulsidas here spoke of Bhagwan Shankar. Why not dwell at Kashi, he said. Kashi. What is Kashi? The literal meaning of Kashi is to shine, to be beautiful, resplendent. That is Kashi. So in other words, we need to find a place to reside that is resplendent, that is beautiful. It's Kashi. Where is that place? Does Tulsidas mean to buy a ticket and fly to Kashi? You might physically be worse off over there. Okay? So it doesn't mean that. Tulsidas is saying, why not dwell in Kashi, the abode of Shambhu and Bhavani, Lord Shiva and Devi Ma? And remember, they reside in Kailash. Kailash as well means clear, uncolored, peaceful. That space that is clear, uncolored, peaceful, bright, shining. I assume we all want to reside in such a place, meaning that you want your inner state to be like this always. Not so? Raise your hand if you want to be unhappy. Raise your hand if you want to be worried. Okay, so I assume this is what you want. Yes? Okay. Now, Tulsidas ji went on to say, why do you not worship him, Lord Shiva, who drank off the deadly poison churned out of the ocean of milk? And, we know the story where Bhagwan Shankar kept it in his throat. So why not worship this Shiva who drank this poison and kept it in his throat? Now, the simple bhakt would say, the poison came out, Lord Shiva drank it and kept it in his throat. Some say that Devi Ma came and held his throat here to stop the poison from going down. All sorts of stories, right? But essentially here, what is the poison? Halahal Vish. Halahal Vish, poison, is Vishwanath. What is the poison? Again, the poisons are whatever problems you perceive in the world and also your internal poisons. Okay? All your negative qualities inside. Bhagwan Shankar took it and held it in his throat. Why didn't he swallow it? Why didn't he spit it out? Why did he keep it in his throat? And why is he called Neelakant, blue-throated one? I wouldn't tell you the answer yet. Contemplate that. I'll tell you the answer at the end, or at least my answer. We go on. So now to the Chaupais themselves. Keywords, devotees. Aage chale bahuri raghuraya rishyamukha paravata niyaya. Rishyamukha paravata niyaya. So we take different words here to focus on. Aage chale bahuri raghuraya. So Prabhu Sri Ram and Lakshman ji, simply written here, they move forward, they keep going. But what does that mean? How can we apply something like that? Sri Ram is moving forward. Yes? Alright. Aage. What does aage mean? Aage, ana means to come. Chalna or chale means to walk, it means to go. So literally now we have aage come, chale go, bahuri raghuraya. Raghuraya, you know Prabhu Sri Ram on that line of Raghus, right? The king of the Raghus, right? And remember Raghu is the solar race. Okay? Right. So literally translated, you know, people say aage chale, well, you know, we had to keep moving forward. Yes. But you know, devotees, you don't have a choice but to move forward. What you can do? You sit down, the world continues to move. You could sit right here, your body itself continues to move. You breathe, the processes are going on, not so? So this thing about moving forward, it can't be a literal thing. It can't be, you know, walking forward, of course. What is it then? Aage chale means coming and going. Coming and going. Aage chale means this deep discrimination, this understanding that everything in this world comes and goes. Aage chale, aage chale, aage chale. So by this statement here, aage chale bahuri raghuraya, the intellect, the sun, as we heard before, raghuraya, this right way to think, your intellect must work like this. That everything in this world comes and goes, comes and goes. So in Sri Ram's position, Sita Mata was with me, she is not with me. She may be with me again, and so come and go, come and go. You understand? So this is Aage Chale Bahuri Raghuraya applied to you and I. This impermanence we keep talking about. Was coronavirus always here? No. Apparently somebody hit a bat or something, right? And then we had coronavirus. Will it always be here? No. Will something else come again? Yes. So what are you worried about? Aage chale bahuri raghuraya. Use your intellect, the son of the intellect, to understand what is meant by aage chale. So what has to move forward? Not you, your body or anything. You just, in other words, your mind must be forward directed, knowing that you can't go back and change anything in the past. You can't grab the future. You just use this present moment, as I mentioned, you know, a few weeks ago, and you keep going forward. Okay? Second part. Rishyamukha paravata nyaya. Rishyamukha means in Sanskrit, Rishi is Rishi, Mukh means silent, quiet. So Sri Ram recognizes Age Chale Bahuri Raghuraya. You need to move forward. But move forward to what? Rishyamukha. You have to go to what? Rishi means seer and Mukh means silence. You have to use a method where you can see the silence. See the silence. And Paravat. Paravat is mountain. Okay? A mountain of silence. So, in other words, this line here, Rishyamukha Paravat, moving toward that is a solution. What is the solution? It is a mountain of stillness, a mountain within yourself. Okay? Silence is Shiva. Shiva is that silence that exists everywhere, your true nature. But because of these happenings in the world, it messes with your mind. You understand? So to Age Chale, you have to go to what? Rishyamukha Parvat. That mountain of stillness where the seers are silent. Or put another way, where you can see the silence. Through that silence, you see yourself as you truly are. So, as I said, we're not theoretical. What are the solutions now for practicing the silence? What? Does silence mean just not talking? One, and now here you have to listen very carefully, and as I mentioned each one, ask yourself if you practice it. If you don't, then you should try. One, silence of speech. In other words, stop speaking unnecessarily, learn to speak only when necessary. Now, I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to briefly put them to you. Each one could be expanded upon, okay? But now, simple. Secondly, choose your words wisely when you have to speak. That is a form of silence. It is said, wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something. Yeah? And the third one, don't be a reactive person, be a person who responds. So, from the time somebody took you something, quick to, get off and say something and do this, keep quiet. Think carefully, and as it is said, put your brain in gear before you put your mouth in motion. That is to respond. That's one kind of silence. Second kind of silence, silence in the environment. So now everybody is home, but a house noisy space. With what? TV, internet, radio, all sorts of things. So what you have to do is reduce the noise in the environment if you want to get some peace of mind. Some people like to put on the TV and go on bed. Anybody here does that? You know why? Because they don't want to feel frightened when they're bathing. They like to hear a little noise. They can't be alone in silence by themselves. So these sort of behaviors show that you need to work on being comfortable with yourself. And coronavirus is forcing people to do this. But you can see that people can't handle it. So you have domestic violence in the home, people acting up, all sort of things, and problems. So you need to turn off these things. And also, another trick in silence is to be in nature. So remain with your gardening, your housekeeping, being in nature. These things help you to silence your mind. And the last part, silencing thoughts and emotions. What to do? Well, to silence these thoughts and emotions we have our spiritual practices. When you go in the temple every day, you pray, you meditate. Meditate means trying to remain silent and not get caught up in your mind. Okay? We'll explain the details of how to do these things another time. Right now, general practices. But the key thing here is silence. You see, devotees, you cannot win against the noise of the world. You can't. So the only thing for you to do is to practice the silence of what is causing you trouble, and then turn inward, as we say. Okay, your internal practice. The last part here now, I will just do. Taha rahasa jiva sahita sugriva. What is the meaning of the word sugriv? Su means good, grieve means neck. Like hen grieve, you see horse head, horse neck. Sugriva, good neck, good throat. So we have to read into this now. Sugriv, a good throat, lives on Rishyamukh, a silent mountain. where the rishis are. What do you make of that? Sugriv, the neck, a good neck is the link between the head and the body. You may have heard of various chakras and whatnot, which I don't want to go into, but at this level here, the neck, it's called Vishuddha. V means very and Vishuddha means very pure. So Sugriv is synonymous with Vishuddha, pure. This energy here by your throat region controls what? Speech and hearing, expression and communication. So Sugriv here now is also a solution. One is silence, Rishyamukh, but the other one now, Sugriv, is expression and communication. So how? Number one, Sugriva. It is good when you have problems and issues to talk to somebody. Okay? Your guru, a healthcare professional, a psychiatrist, a good friend who will need you straight. You see, recently there was a case of a depressed girl apparently committing suicide, various issues. The first step that you have to do is realize you are not alone in feeling like this. And Sugriva, you need to say. You need to say how, if you don't be embarrassed. There is a stigma about mental health in this country. We like to laugh at people. Oh, he mad. Oh, she mad. You know what is you mad? You can't treat people like this. Most problems are mental problems. You have to be able to speak openly and freely. You could call hotline numbers if you don't get through. Speak to your doctor, speak to your guru, speak to a friend, speak to your parent. Speak to somebody who could then help you along. Okay? And this is what we've been trained to do, especially in our children's home. We have children with, various issues, and we're all trained to deal with this. There's a step, but it has to begin by you saying something. Then, as you all know, singing and chanting. I wouldn't explain on this too much because you would be familiar. Singing and chanting. Reciting mantras. You would think that reciting mantras is expression, but it is an expression that leads to silence. What do I mean? When you repeat a mantra in your mind, as the Paramacharya said at the start, it brings your mind under control and then it slowly settles it down. If you keep repeating a mantra mentally, you realize you don't have all sorts of thoughts anymore. That mantra basically just holds everything together and keeps it, supple. So, reciting mantras, even practicing and playing an instrument where you hear that song coming in will reduce that mental chatter that you have going on. Okay? So, my time is up here. Let me just summarize for you. We just took one piece of a chopai. Aage chale, bahurina ghuraya. Use your intellect to understand that things come and go. So, aage chale, move forward with that attitude and understanding. Rishyamukha, the power of silent practices that will bring your mind under control. And that Vishuddha, as we said before, is really akash, spaciousness, to understand your true nature as being space. I know most people don't understand this, so I wouldn't go into too much detail there. And the final part, Sugriva, good throat. Do you have a good throat? There you go, all the time. Good throat means expression. Speak your truth. Sing, chant, do what you have to do using your voice. It will be Vishuddha, purify you. And so putting these two together, Rishyamukha, Sugriva, communication and silence, this is how you can bring yourself peace of mind. Peace of mind. Okay? Is that clear? So I want you to go back again this week, read it, sing it again, and contemplate on what I've said. And you analyze it on your own. See if it makes sense to you, and most importantly, practice. Bole Sri Rajaramachandra ki Jai.
Devotees, just to add one piece, a wonderful practice you begin to read Sunday morning service, and It is important that you read every day. On the mission at a very valid point, many people have their mind wrapped up in a red cloth, and the temple put flowers in it every day. That is good. But there's more than that. So, to put it in context, we have been saying over and over again, we all have 5 debts that we need to repay on a daily basis. 5 debts. Punch in. 1, we owe a debt to God. We need to pray every day. Now, I want to clarify something. What I'm saying here, when you do these things, you don't get blessings. You owe a debt. I've been saying if you take a loan from the bank and you don't pay back, trouble. If you pay back, nobody pats you in the back. You're supposed to pay back. So praying every day, when you offer flowers, light the hands, when you feel get the blessings, don't fool yourself. Bhagwan Shankar said to Goddess Parvati, this is nitya karma, no blessings. But if you don't do it, you commit sin. Sins of omission. Right. So 1, pray to God every day. Like Devi Yagya. 2, Rishi Yagya. We owe a debt to the sages, the fathers of Dharma. They say, Rishyamuk Parvat Niyaraya. Rishyamuk, Rishi. In the silence, Pashyanti Yang Yogino. In that silence, they tap into all the secrets of the universe. They documented these secrets for us to follow. We owe them a debt of gratitude. He who takes without giving is a thief. So we ask you to read scriptures on a daily basis. And ad nauseam I have been saying this. If I were in a classroom, I say, those who read every day, put up your hand. Instead, people hand raised all and head bending. But you don't do it. It's a valid point for to be made, and I'm fed up of saying these things over and over. You want a pundit to read for you. You're supposed to read, and this is where the Shia comes in. Read a scripture on a daily basis, not once a while. So many have your mind here, and I hope that you take it home and read it every day. You can follow what you did here this morning, but it is a sadhan, a spiritual discipline. If you make up your mind, you can start at the beginning and just read. There's a power in just reading the words of divinity. And when you come to a Sunday morning service, you can do analysis. That's different. That's a different approach. But the Bhakta sadhan, you read Ramayana, just read it. Or Gita, whatever you want. Many of us, out of laziness, we don't do it. And we shut about with this air of piety. But you commit sins of omission are created. And I've been saying, many people may not do bad things, but what you're supposed to do, you don't do. And when sins of omission accumulate, they begin to suffer the consequences. Then you hear, somebody do you ubya. Somebody do something. Not realizing that you failed to do what you're supposed to do. Now, I'm not making up a sin. Shiv Sanghita, Bhagwan Shankar explained to Goddess Parvati. So on a daily basis, this is the inner meaning. Read your scripture. Everybody. You choose one verse of Gita, or one page, or Ramayana, whatever it is, you choose wherever you are. But it is a sadhan. Sadhan, sadhak, sadhya. You become a sadhak, a spiritual aspirant. Carry out the sadhan, spiritual discipline. Then you achieve the sadhya, the spiritual objective. Can't happen otherwise. But as the Shankaracharya used to say, my father, Pandumash's guru, laziness and stupidity. These two factors militate against us badly. But you can't blame laziness and stupidity, we have to blame ourselves. We are lazy and we downright stupid not to do what is good for us, and you want to go to heaven. Now, I take a serious view of all these things in devotee because endlessly we have been saying it from ever since when. I hope this will bring about the change. Right? At least you remind, you want to choose Gita, whichever one, but read a scripture on a daily basis. Everybody, and I say the children should also do it. They're going to read all the books in English. If you can't read Hindi and Sanskrit. This is your sadhana. Pitra Yagya, when Pitra Paksha, everybody in Pinda all about Pitra Yagya. Values, principles, ancestors have passed on to us. one of which is to read scriptures on a daily basis. That is Pitrayagi, on a daily basis. Not blind rituals. Hear me? And Paropakar, we all know that service to humanity. Life is like a flower in full bloom. We should give it away, petals, scent and all, to our God who brought it into existence. Many of the devotees, sometimes they come to the temple, they do this service. This is good. Manushya Gya. And Bhutya Gya. Take care of the low forms of creation. Good elaborate in all these things. When somebody dies, these rituals are performed to symbolize these 5 deaths that we owe. That's a different topic. But I just want to emphasize the importance, and I want to commend on the donation very highly for taking this step to get you, bring the book, read. But I'm trying to emphasize also, it's not the first time I've been told to do that. Now, Panadume is very, very still diplomatic. You know, you come to handshaking, and I will say, come to handshaking and go back with somebody else reversing your foot. Different things you do. What do you go back with? Laziness, devotees. Laziness. And I hope that this continues, Panadume. I hope it continues. Alright? Because it is an excellent practice. And I'm suggesting to all people, say I'm watching Kundali Bhag, Kumkum Bhag and Jyotishness on a daily basis. Find some, you can watch it, you know. But find some time to read this scripture. It's only for you. Not for me, not for God. God doesn't need anything. And then, perhaps some of us will have less burden on our head. That they won't come with all the, you know what, the push on our heads. Baba this, Guruji that. Follow the practices. Okay? So, devotees are not quarreling. Yeah, quarreling. But I want you to understand, because this is, you know, I'm tired of saying these things. We are trying again. We are essentially optimists. So, go with that. Right? Everybody on a daily basis, read the scripture. Anyone you choose. A present of the mind. Baba, Guruji, if I eat that kind of thing, I will read the book. Where we are coming from. If you know you're going to eat that kind of thing, read the book in the morning now. Right? Don't make excuse. And if you feel that you can't read the book and eat that kind of thing, don't eat that kind of thing. Read the book. Up to you. Devotees, you do it for you. Get that clear. You do it for you. And just remember, importantly, if you fail to do it, you are creating sins of omission, which nobody gets away from. Cumulative effect is suffer. And society today is suffering karmas. There's only a dikhawa, a show of spirituality, piety. Is it really there in a sense? I have my own views about that. So, you know, it's important to pay attention to these small practices. Where you go all about and these small things. Silence is an important thing. That stillness, Vishnu. पिंजरे के बंशीले बाहर से तो बाहर से तू खामोश रही तो भीतर भीतर रोए रे. The world is like that, like a bird in a cage. You sit down quiet, you see nothing but you're screaming inside. I screaming outside. Don't be like that. Stillness, shant, and that is Shiva. Shiva, actually, is coming up a lot to be here about Shiva. Why this is Nilkant, you know, this part of the neck here. What this is, we should check. Very, very important inside every single person. This is wonderful. Wonderful. But all this will be wasted if you don't take it seriously, analyze it. And as Anandamesh mentioned, my father said, 1 ounce of practice is better than many tons of theory. Shankaracharya always said that. So devotees, practice. Practice. So last week we spoke of Sudikshan. And I did mention to you, if you follow what Umesh mentioned, what we discussed here this morning, the life of these great sages, they follow the same pattern. Aage chale, Bhuri Raya, Vishmukh, Parvatiya Raya. That is the journey. But the one you will see that life, we are all on the same journey. Where are we now? Are we still the noise in the world of screaming, loudness, or is there stillness? You could be in the world, but you can shut out the noise. I said some time ago, I am alone, but never lonely. When you put certain principles inside of you, you never feel lonely. And there is no noise. There is no noise. And there is any kind of noise, it's a beautiful noise. Beautiful noise. There is always music. You can tap into that. But nivriti man, not pravritti man. Go away from the world. Don't get caught up in external. You're here but you're deaf, you see but you're blind. The physical things of this world. It's only then you can see and experience the inner bliss. This is where the inner stillness comes from. So devotees, we are told to find our Lord, seek Him, and just, to impact upon us why we need to do all these things. A question can be asked, a question can be asked, where is that God? You want to find God? Where is He? Has anybody ever found Him? And if so, where? When? Devotees, questions have been asked. And in the very simple way, we put it like this. Simple way. More Ram se Guru Dilare, More Ram se Guru Dilare, More Ram se Guru Dilare. Vinala Dita Vishwana Kanta, Raha se Guru Dilare, More Ram se Guru Dilare. Has anybody for my Lord? Has anybody seen Him? Can you name my Lord? Ask. Ram kaha? Where is the Ram? Where is He? Each person you ask will give a different answer. What are the answers? Koi kahe tu basi labdasi, koi kahe tu naavani, koi kahe tu basi labdasi, koi kahe tu darkness that surrounds us, you need that lantern. You need that stick to guide you along. All these things have symbolic meaning. Because when you ask, koi kahe wo basya Vadha mein, samse Sri Ram in Ayodhya. Koi kahe Vrindavan mein, samse is in Vrindavan. Samse is in Kashi. Samse is in the temple. Samse is in the Murti. Have you found them yet? I've gone to India so many times, looking for Kashi, Vrindavan, Ayodhya, Mathura, Rameshwaram. Where is He? Devotees, some say it's in the mind. It's easier to go Kashi than go in your mind. How will you find Him? The mind is a cesspool of impurities. How will I find my Lord? And the sages devotees, great sages, Tulsidas, Valmiki Muni, Agastya Baba, Guru Vasishtha, great sages, great devotees like Sutikshan, Shivarima, the Atma Vishas. What did they tell us? Dhudhat firta kyun naran, Ramana Mandir mein Bhagwan. Oh fool, where do you go looking for God all over the place? He's in your mind, He's in your heart. But then in my ignorance I am saying, oh holy ones, I am searching but I can't find Him. I still have not found Him. Devotees, simply the sages tell us. journeys inside. How do I do that? Devotees simply, oh fool, I'm not calling you fool. He is telling her, you fool. When was it you all about why? ढूंढते तो फिर जा क्यों नादान? तेरा मन मंदिर में भगवान. That God is in your heart, but the mind of demons receive, oh holy ones are seriously but can't find him. Then what is the response? पाप मैं भी क्यों ढूंढे पापी? पाप मैं भी क्यों ढूंढे पापी? O sinner, while you discover the muck of the mind, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mat, matsari, sangita, all these impurities, negativities, clouding a cesspool within the mind. You want to see God? How can you see God? Mana maila partan ki dhoye. The mind is dirty, impure, but is covering the body, shining the body. When the mind is guilty, how are you going to find God? Can't you believe him? Remember Sudarshan Muni gave, he got darshan first in his own heart. Because that was a pure spot. Even though Siyam was outside, it has to come first inside. But how to do that? Hate, anger, lust, greed, jealousy, avarice, rivalry, all these negativity, devotees. We pray, come to the temple, but right here, we know what happens. We degenerate, anger, etc., etc. How are you going to find God? You see, just said, no man. Get rid of these impurities. You are the essence of love. You are the essence of divinity. But we keep saying this like there's a flame and a bushel covering the flame. You have to remove the bushel. Scriptures do say develop love, they say remove it. Get rid of anger, lust, jealousy. When you get rid of these negativities, automatically that light shines. It's there. It is always shining, but it's blocked off. And devotee, this is where we fall short. All of us. And like doing that sadhan, reading scriptures on a daily basis, what do you think that do for you? It helps you remove impurities, you burn away sin. Why then Bhavan is good? This is not just blind ritualistic action. Bhavan devotee burns away negativities, impurities. You purify the tattvas in the body. We go into details in all these things. Kirtan bhajan, do it right. Why then busy the journey? Chauthi bhakti magundaran, kare kapatata jigan, mantra japa madhuri viswasa, you start off in the physical. Right company, Gyani Bhakt. Listen to kathas, bhakti, yeah? Do say katha prasanga. You have your guru who guide you. You chant kirtan, you do japa as physical. And you continue doing that. You go deeper and deeper. Contentment arises. Santosha nandanam param. Yeah? Santosha, you see God everywhere. It becomes more inside. It begins outside. Physical, physical, physical. When you continue those processes, you come inside. And inside, you begin to experience that stillness. That divinity inside. You have to go outside. And all the practices we are carrying out is to help us. If you understand why you're doing it and do it right, it helps you. It helps you. I know people do it for 50, 60 years of their life. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. And they're still as bad as 60 years ago. No purity. And the name purified is what is how you're doing it. The attitude. There's some blessings for doing it. But I keep telling people, we do not know how we're wasting this time. We have been hearing time and again from the Dumi said, this morning he said, nothing you do about the past, and the future, what is the future? Now is what comes. Do it right now. Make use of this moment. Ye ghar itna jaye beat. Make optimum use of this moment. You sit down to put your mind free all about. You pray. You have to know that God knows it. You can't throw that in mind. So devotees, it all comes back right back to us. What we need to do. And those of us who are very, very interested and we care about ourselves, this is what we have to do. Not just big things, now. How much love and Shri could offer, Dhari could offer. Small things in life, how you control your anger, your negativities, all this greed, the lust, etc., etc. Like the wheel nuts, I call them in the vehicle. Not wheel nuts. If you don't tighten them, you're not going anywhere. And people must wake up to this and understand. You cannot do it for anybody, nobody could do it for you, you have to do it for yourself. You have to. And this is how you're going to elevate, you're going to progress. And believe me, if you make the right effort, don't compromise and don't make excuses. You'll be amazed to see what you can experience. Very much amazed to see. But it depends on you. And so devotees, I was just thinking of here, you know what to say? Ram Nam, Krishna Nam, chant that name. Chant that name, the power in Kirtan. It can help you. It go beyond negativities. So if you want to find out divine devotees, so you're doing two things. Yes, read scripture on a daily basis, maintain all your principles, right? And devotees, chant the name. Everything you do. Bhagavan Bhagavad, Ram. You do your work and so on, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Namah Shivaya. Develop this attitude. And if you can do this, you want stillness in your mind, but I'll tell you something. There's ajap. You keep saying Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya physically. After some time, that month keeps on residing in your mind unconsciously. Ajap jap. Ajap jap. Yeah? Did we have it? Even sometimes you hear a nice song, it keeps resonating in your mind. Do the same with your mantra, with the kirtan. Let it resonate. Do it to such intensity that it resonates in your mind no matter where you are. Okay? So devotees will glorify the divine name, proceed to conclude. We'll make the question for the final hour. Devotees, simple kirtanam. Simple kirtanam. Hare Narayana, Hare Narayana, Hare Narayana, Hare sun and be happy with the world. They're a sadhana. And this is what we need to do. Another additional practice in the very troubled times in which we live. See God. God makes a difference in all these. He makes a difference. Blessings. Lord, Sri Rajavan Munchan Puriki.
ओम श्रीमन महागणाधिपति स्वाहा ओम श्री गौरी माता स्वाहा ओम श्री पृथ्वी माता स्वाहा ओम श्री पंचलोपादेवाय स्वाहा ओम ह्रीं श्रीं चंडिकाय नमः स्वाहा ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुंडाय विद्ये स्वाहा ओम ह्रीं श्रीं लक्ष्मीभ्यो नमः स्वाहा ओम श्रीं ह्रीं सरस्वत्यै स्वाहा ओम क्लीं काले नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री तारा देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री त्रिपुर सुंदरी देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री भुवनेश्वरी देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री त्रिपुर भैरवी देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री छिन्नमस्ता देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री धूमावती देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री बगलामुखी देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री मातंगी देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री कमला देवी स्वाहा ओम श्री नवदुर्गा माताभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा ओम ह्रीं षष्ठी देव्याभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री स्वाहा माताभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा ओम नमः शिवाय स्वाहा ओम नमो भगवते नारायणाय स्वाहा ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री सीतारामचंद्राभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री राधा कृष्णाभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री हूं हनुमते नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री आदित्य देवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री चंद्र देवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री मंगल देवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री बुध देवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री बृहस्पति देवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री शुक्र देवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री शनि देवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री राहवे नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री केतवे नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री अग्निदेवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री इष्टदेवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री कुलदेवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री स्थानदेवाय स्वाहा ओम श्री वास्तुदेवाय स्वाहा ओम सर्वदेवता सर्वदेवीभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री अनंत स्वरूपाय ब्रह्मणे नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री गुरुवेभ्यो नमः स्वाहा। Make a final offering. Om Namah Shambhaya Cha Mayobhaya Cha Om Namah Shankaraya Cha Mayaskaraya Cha Om Namah Shivaya Cha Shivtaraya Cha Om Namah Shivaya. Om Purnamida Purnamida Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Sarvam Vay Purnavam Swaha. सर्वपापहरं दिव्यं गाम्भीर्यं निर्मलं आशुनं चन्यादतं गृहीतां पुरुषोत्तमं आशुनं समर्पयामि श्रीदेवाय नमः। Join